Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear, and thus am I restored to my reality at last. All that intruded on my holy sight, forgiveness takes away, and I draw near the end of senseless journeys. Senseless journeys, mad careers, and artificial values. I accept instead what God establishes as mine, sure that in that alone I will be saved, sure that I'd go through fear to meet my love. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. Father, I come to you, I come to you today, because I would not follow any way but yours. You are beside me, certain is your way, and I am grateful for your holy gifts of certain sanctuary, and escape from everything that would obscure my love. Obscure my love for God my Father and His Holy Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. Well, thank you all so much for joining me here today and studying A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles here on the banks of the Arkansas River at Fort Smith Park. So Fort Smith, Arkansas, at the Fort Smith Park. I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness from the Ozarks, and we're ready for lesson 298 in A Course in Miracles for Saturday, October the 25th of 2025. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. Let's be sure that you bring that to your memory every hour of the day today. And as well as when you bring it to your memory, check in to make sure you're at peace and that you're happy. And if not, you know what to do. Stop. Ask for help. Let that be the most important thing that you do in your day-to-day life, is to be tuned into your own personal peace and joy, and which is a result of staying tuned in with yourself, God, happiness. Okay, and let's see. We also are looking at our associated reading. What is the real world? The real world is a symbol, like the rest of what perception offers, yet it stands for what is opposite to what you made. Your world is seen through eyes of fear and brings the witnesses of terror to your mind. The real world cannot be perceived except through eyes forgiveness blesses. So they see a world where terror is impossible and witnesses to fear cannot be found. The real world holds a counterpart for each unhappy thought reflected in your world. a sure correction for the sights of fear and sounds of battle, which your world contains. The real world shows a world seen differently, through quiet eyes and with a mind at peace. Nothing but rest is there. There are no cries of pain and sorrow heard, for nothing there remains outside forgiveness. And the sights are gentle. Only happy sights and sounds can reach the mind that has forgiven itself. Only happy sights and sounds can reach the mind that has forgiven itself. Someone's up here not far from me with a motorcycle, just making a lot of noise, and I was thinking, I'd sure like for them to not do that right now. But then I thought, well, if I've really forgiven the situation, well, then only happy sights and sounds can come to me. And so he's popping a wheelie, riding a wheelie, doing a pretty good job, actually. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? We want to learn to practice forgiveness so much that nothing can intrude upon our peace. There are no cries of pain and sorrow heard, for nothing there remains outside forgiveness. And the sights are gentle. Only happy sights and sounds can reach the mind that has forgiven itself. What need has such a mind for thoughts of death, attack, and murder? What can it perceive surrounding it but safety, love, and joy? What is there it would choose to be condemned? And what is there it would judge against? The world it sees arises from a mind at peace within itself. No danger lurks in anything it sees, for it is kind, and only kindness does it look upon. The real world is the symbol that the dream of sin and guilt is over, and God's Son no longer sleeps. His waking eyes perceive the sure reflection of his Father's love, the certain promise that he is redeemed. The real world signifies the end of time, for its perception makes time purposeless. The Holy Spirit has no need of time when it has served his purpose. Now he waits but that one instant more for God to take his final step, and time has disappeared, taking perception with it as it goes, and leaving but the truth to be itself. That instant is our goal, for it contains the memory of God. And as we look upon a world forgiven, it is he who calls to us and comes to take us home, reminding us of our identity, which our forgiveness has restored to us. Okay, let's see. On your lesson today, I love you, Father. It's like a prayer. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. And as you say that prayer, be sure that you're doing that. If there's somebody that's causing you discomfort, well, then pull on forgiveness so that you can restore their freedom to them, so that they can ride their wheelie on their motorcycle and it doesn't disrupt your peace at all. Even though you think that you have justification, you go, well, he shouldn't be doing that. It's probably illegal on the road anyway. or it's disturbing what I wanted to do. All those associated reasons. Let them go. Know that the Holy Spirit's always tuned in, giving you exactly what you need when you need it. And so you can just practice forgiveness knowing that God's got you covered. That's the best way to look at it. I use the term let go and let God a lot. Step back and let God lead the way. Give up what comes before you. Forgiveness, the literal meaning. Give up what comes before you. Okay, let's see. Also, be sure that you do a longer practice period when you first get up in the morning and right before you go to bed at night, for at least a few minutes. You at this stage, he's letting you decide. We had reached a place where he suggested 15 minutes, but then when we got to part 2, he said, you decide how much time you want to spend in the silence. Okay, let's go take a look in the Manual for Teachers, and we're in the Development of Trust, which in the original edition, it won't be called the Development of Trust. It'll just be called You'll have what are the characteristics of God's teachers, number 4. And then we'll have trust. And then from trust, it'll get into honesty. So today we'll read honesty, tolerance, gentleness, joy, and defenselessness. So let's see what we've got. Honesty. All other traits of God's teachers rest on trust. Once that has been achieved, the others cannot fail to follow. Only the trusting can afford honesty, for only they can see its value. Honesty does not apply only to what you say. The term actually means consistency. There is nothing you say that contradicts with what you think or do. No thought opposes any other thought. No act belies your word, and no word lacks agreement with another. Such are the truly honest. At no level are they in conflict with themselves. Therefore, it is impossible for them to be in conflict with anyone or anything. So remember, you extend everyone you see and think, and if you're not in conflict in your own self, you won't be at conflict with anyone. Paragraph 2. The peace of mind which the advanced teachers of God experience is largely due to their perfect honesty. It is only the wish to deceive that makes for war. No one at one with himself can even conceive of conflict. Conflict is the inevitable result of self-deception, and self-deception is dishonesty. There is no challenge to a teacher of God. Challenge implies doubt, and the trust on which God's teachers rest secure makes doubt impossible. Therefore, they can only succeed. In this, as in all things, they are honest. They can only succeed because they never do their will alone. Isn't that nice? You'll succeed when you learn that you're connected with everyone and everything, and that your best is everyone's best. They can only succeed because they never do their will alone. They choose for all mankind, for all the world and all things in it, for the unchanging and the unchangeable, beyond appearances, and for the Son of God and His Creator. How could they not succeed? They choose in perfect honesty, sure of their choice as of themselves. So that's what we want to reach, is that place of consistency. Consistency of being peaceful. Consistency of always choosing happiness, joy, rather than war or conflict. And we see ourselves in everyone and use forgiveness to keep ourselves in tune. Number 3, tolerance. God's teachers do not judge. To judge is to be dishonest. For to judge is to assume a position you do not have. Judgment without self-deception is impossible. Judgment implies that you have been deceived in your brothers. How then could you not have been deceived in yourself? Judgment implies a lack of trust, and trust remains the bedrock of the teacher of God's whole thought system. That horn that's blowing is I think it's a drawbridge that goes up and down when either cars or ships are needing to cross it. Anyway, judgment implies a lack of trust, and trust remains the bedrock of the teacher of God's whole thought system. Let this be lost and all his learning goes. Without judgment are all things equally acceptable, for who could judge otherwise? Without judgment are all men brothers, for who is there who stands apart? Judgment destroys honesty and shatters trust. No teacher of God can judge and hope to learn. So we want to learn to let go of judgment. Let's replace it with forgiveness. Roman numeral 4, gentleness. Harm is impossible for God's teachers. They can neither harm nor be harmed. Harm is the outcome of judgment. It is the dishonest act that follows a dishonest thought. It is a verdict of guilt upon a brother and therefore on oneself. It is the end of peace and the denial of learning. It demonstrates the absence of God's curriculum and its replacement by insanity. No teacher of God but must learn, and fairly early in his training, that harmfulness completely obliterates his function from his awareness. It will make him confused, fearful, angry, and suspicious. Okay, you hear what harmfulness does to your awareness? It will make him confused, fearful, angry, and suspicious. It will make the Holy Spirit's lessons impossible to learn. Nor can God's teacher be heard at all, except by those who realize that harm can actually achieve nothing. No gain can come of it. And the second paragraph under gentleness. Therefore, God's teachers are wholly gentle. We've learned to be harmless. Ahimsa, the very first of the yamas and niyamas of the yogi way. Harmlessness. And remember, he said in order to be harmless, you need to be helpful. They go together. Therefore, God's teachers are wholly gentle. They need the strength of gentleness. They need the strength of gentleness. For it is in this that the function of salvation becomes easy. To those who would do harm, it is impossible. To those to whom harm has no meaning, it is merely natural. What choice but this has meaning to the sane? Who choose hell when he perceives a way to heaven? Or who chooses hell when he perceives a way to heaven? And who would choose the weakness that must come from harm in place of the unfailing, all-encompassing, and limitless strength of gentleness? The might of God's teachers lies in their gentleness. The strength, the might of God's teachers lies in their gentleness. You want to become strong? Well, learn to be gentle. The might of God's teachers lies in their gentleness, for they have understood their evil thoughts came neither from God's Son nor His Creator. Thus did they join their thoughts with Him who is their source, and so their will, which always was His own, is free to be itself. Number 5, Roman numeral 5, joy. Joy is one of the characteristics of God's teachers. Joy is the inevitable result of gentleness. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. And what could come to interfere with joy? The open hands of gentleness are always filled. The gentle have no pain. They cannot suffer. Why should they not be joyous? They are sure they are beloved and must be safe. Joy goes with gentleness as surely as grief attends attack. God's teachers trust in Him, and they are sure His teacher goes before them, making sure no harm can come of them. They hold His gifts and follow in His way, because God's voice directs them in all things. Joy is their song of thanks, and Christ looks down on them in thanks as well. His need of them is just as great as theirs of Him. How joyous it is to share the purpose of salvation. And Roman numeral 6, defenselessness, last paragraph. Defenselessness. God's teachers have learned how to be simple. God's teachers have learned how to be simple. They have no dreams that need defense against the truth. They do not try to make themselves. Their joy comes from their understanding who created them, and Does what God created need defense? No one can become an advanced teacher of God until he fully understands that defenses are but foolish guardians of mad illusions. The more grotesque the dream, the fiercer and more powerful its defenses seem to be. Yet when the teacher of God finally agrees to look past them, he finds that nothing was there. When he finally agrees to, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. When he finally agrees to look past him, he realizes there wasn't anything to defend against. The more grotesque the dream, the fiercer, the more powerful its defenses seem to be. Yet when the teacher of God finally agrees to look past them, he finds that nothing was there. Slowly at first he lets himself be undeceived, but he learns faster as his trust increases. It is not danger that comes when defenses are laid down. It is safety, it is peace, it is joy, and it is God. Oh, that we might learn that lesson and tell all those who consider themselves our I laugh about it. They call them our leaders. They're leading us into grotesque ways, and oftentimes when they believe in defenses. But if we could lay them down, look at this wonderful promise. Let me open it again. I'd already closed it. But let's just what it says. But he learns faster as his trust increases. It is not danger that comes when defenses are laid down. It is safety. It is peace. It is joy. And it is God. I expect the Dalai Lama knew this, and that's why he decided to not defend his title in Tibet, and he moved to India, where he'd be safe to continue being the leader of Tibet. And the best leading he could give was to show the new dispensation has come, where we don't defend our space anymore. We lay down and we turn the other cheek. We go the second mile, knowing that we're invulnerable, and that when we lay down those things, it is safety. It is not danger that comes when defenses are laid down. It is safety, it is peace, it is joy, and it is God. Okay, well, let's see if we can, what's going on around the world. You know, I found in one place that some Jews still celebrate, they just finished the Sukkot. Just yesterday I found some, I don't think it's all Jews. And so today would be Shemini Atzeret, the final day of the Sukkot. Out of holidays, and also I found out of holidays and observances, I found that it's also St. Crispin's Day. And Crispin was a martyr who died, and his brother, twin brother, they were both martyred in France, born in Rome, and died in 286. But they were leather workers, so they're the patron saints of cobblers, leather workers, saddlers, glove makers, lace makers, and shoemakers. Anyway, I thought that was pretty. And his brother's name was Crispinian. So Crispin and Crispinian were beheaded in Rome preaching the gospel in 286. Hug a Sheep Day, the Ovis Aries. I might even have something to do with St. Crispin Day. Anyway, we get wool, meat, milk, leather, and lawn mowing was one of the original reasons. You know, they just leave little, pellet size poops, so they make a nice mower for your lawn. International, I hear they used to have them there at the White House lawns. That's how they'd keep them mowed. Before I expect now they use regular mowers. International Artists Day, and it's also Cartoonists Against Crime Day. Kiwanis One Day, Make a Difference Day, Greasy Foods Day. Wouldn't recommend eating much of that. minimal on your fats and greases. I Care About You Day. It's because I care about you. I recommend eat healthy. Pit Bull Awareness Day. The Canis lupus familiaris is dogs. Canises are the wolves and coyotes and jackals. Prescription Drug Take Back Day. Punk for a Day. World Pasta Day and World Pizza Day. And then out of Johnny's selected seeds, I've got another Beta vulgaris, a Swiss chard, and this one here is the Charbell. It's 28 days to the baby state and 65 days to the full-grown bunching state. Clean, vibrant leaves, strong, spora resistant, and upright habit for a healthy-looking bunch. Vigorous plants with good bolt resistance and wide petioles. A premium baby leaf variety for its fast growth, brilliant, deep magenta stems and veins, and heavy textured leaves. The Charbell Swiss chard. Thank you, Johnny Selected Seeds. And then out of our word for peace is going to be from Alsatian language. They're on between France and Germany, Alsace-Lorraine. It's a Germanic language, Alsatian, and it's close to German, but it's Freda. It's the main rivers there in Alsace-Lorraine is the Rhine, and a couple of its major tributary, the Moselle and the Sayre. Anyway, my grandfather said that my ancestry came from Alsace-Lorraine. So, Freda be with you. Peace be with you. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear, and thus am I restored to my reality at last. All that intruded on my holy sight, forgiveness takes away, and I draw near the end of senseless journeys, mad careers, and artificial values. And I draw near the end of senseless journeys, mad careers, and artificial values. I accept instead what God establishes as mine, sure that in that I alone will be saved, sure that I go through fear to meet my love. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. Father, I come to you today because I would not follow any way but yours. You are beside me. Certain is your way, and I am grateful for your holy gifts of certain sanctuary and escape from everything that would obscure your love. Obscure my love for God, my Father, and His Holy Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. Freda.